Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys expected to hire Mike Zimmer as defensive coordinator. Zimmer replaces Dan Quinn, who left following the 2023 season to become the head coach of the Washington Commanders. The Dallas Cowboys are expected to hire former Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer as their defensive coordinator, people with knowledge of the situation told the Dallas Morning News on Thursday. Zimmer replaces Dan Quinn, who left following the 2023 season to become the head coach of the Washington Commanders. Before settling on Zimmer, the Cowboys also looked at former head coach/coordinators such as Ron Rivera and Rex Ryan as possible replacements. Under Quinn, the Cowboys produced Pro Bowl players such as Micah Parsons, edge, DeMarcus Lawrence, defensive end, Trayvon Diggs, and Darren Bland, cornerbacks. In 2 of his 3 seasons as defensive coordinator, the Cowboys led the NFL in takeaways. However, the Cowboys are coming off a playoff loss in which Packers running back Aaron Jones had 21 carries for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Arizona Cardinals in Week 3 and Buffalo Bills in Week 14 each surpassed 200 rushing yards in Dallas losses. This is Zimmer's second stint with the Cowboys. He spent 13 years with the organization, working as a defensive assistant, 1994, defensive backs coach, 1995-99, and eventually defensive coordinator, 2000 to 2006. Zimmer's best defenses finished number 4 in 2001 and number 1 in 2003. Zimmer was the defensive backs coach on the Cowboys' last Super Bowl team after 1995 season. After leaving the Cowboys, he became a defensive coordinator with Atlanta and Cincinnati. He was named head coach in Minnesota in 2014. In 8 seasons, the Vikings went 72-56-1 overall and 2-3 in postseason appearances under Zimmer. During his time as head coach, Zimmer, 67, battled through surgeries to both eyes because of a detached retina and cataracts. He spent the last 2 seasons helping former players as a consultant. Most recently, he worked with former Cowboys cornerback Deion Sanders, who was the head coach at the University of Colorado. Zimmer has dealt with personal tragedy in his time away from the sport. His son, Adam, died in November 2022. Adam Zimmer, 38, was an NFL assistant coach for 17 years. The Cowboys also had interest in Cowboys defensive line coach Aiden Durd, who was interviewed by 3 teams for vacant coordinator positions, and Jets safeties coach Marquand Manuel. Cowboys fall short on major awards at NFL honors. Las Vegas, the Cowboys were well represented at NFL honors on Thursday, with several players up for awards as finalists. But for the most part, the team came up empty with the big awards, including NFL MVP, Defensive Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year. The only win for the Cowboys on Thursday went to CeeDee Lamb, who was awarded the Next Gen Stats Moment of the Year for his 92-yard touchdown catch from Dak Prescott against the Lions. Dak Prescott was a finalist for MVP and OPOY. He finished second for MVP, which went to Baltimore's Lamar Jackson. Christian McCaffrey won Offensive Player of the Year, as CeeDee Lamb finished third and Dak was fifth. The Cowboys also had 2 finalists on the defensive side of the ball. Micah Parsons finished third for Defensive Player of the Year and Darren Bland was fifth, although he received a first-place vote. Cleveland's Myles Garrett won the award. Prescott was also a finalist for the FedEx Air Player of the Year, but the award went to San Francisco's Brock Purdy. Also, former safety Darren Woodson, one of 15 finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024, was denied for the 2nd straight year. Woodson was not one of the 7 modern-day inductees. Cowboys could make surprise $12.4 million move on disappointing star, PFF. This was not the season it was supposed to be for the Cowboys' Tony Pollard, not with the departure of star running back Ezekiel Elliott and the handing over of the keys to the running game that came with it. Pollard logged 1,005 yards, which was good for 12th in the NFL and only 2 yards off last year's total, 1,007, but he did so on 252 carries. His average of 4.0 yards per carry was well off last year's mark, 5.2 yards per rush. That has led to speculation that Pollard's time in Dallas is running short. He is a free agent this offseason, after playing last year on a franchise tag, a one-year deal based on a formula that comes from the league at $10.1 million. He was one of just 8 running backs, per overtheCap.com, who made 8-figure salaries last year. The expectation is that the franchise tag was a one-year test period, and because it did not go particularly well, the Cowboys will let Pollard walk this offseason. But Pro Football Focus sees a potentially different outcome for Pollard, another franchise tag. Cowboys' Tony Pollard has $6.5 million to $8 million market value. The Cowboys could ink Pollard to a second franchise tag deal, though it would be the final time they could do that before having to sign him to a contract. OvertHeCap.com projects that number to be $12.4 million, and SpotTrack has it slightly less, at $11.3 million. Considering the fact that SpotTrack pegs Pollard's market value at $6.5 million per year, and PFF has his projected contract if he is not franchised, at 3 years and $24 million, or $8 million per year, then putting the franchise tag on him this season amounts to agreeing to overpay him by $3 million to $6 million. Here's how PFF sees the justification for tagging Pollard and keeping him in Dallas. In an article that looked at potential franchise tag candidates this offseason, for each team, the Cowboys franchised Pollard during the 2023 offseason, and his production did not match the price. Pollard appeared in all 17 games, but he saw his yards per rush drop down to 4.0. Tagging him again would be pricey for the Cowboys, but there is a chance he could be better in 2024 after being a full year removed from his leg injury during the 2022 playoffs. Leg injury was a factor, or not? Pollard did admit that the leg injury bothered him in the early part of the season. "I would say it's a night and day difference," Pollard said in December, per SI.com. "You think you're good. You think you're all the way back until you're actually out there making plays, full speed, feeling it. Once you get a feel for it and get your feet under you, then you start to realize, oh, so I may have lost a little right there. But I'm picking it back up." But Pollard's second-half season numbers in Dallas were not much different than his first-half numbers, and in the playoff loss to Green Bay, he had just 56 yards on 15 carries. So, did he really pick much back up? The Cowboys have some expensive free agents and extensions to deal with this offseason, and though bringing back Pollard is not out of the question, another franchise tag would be more money than he's worth. There's value in having to only give a one-year commitment, but it's still giving away money for a team that doesn't have a lot of room to do so. And you, fan, what do you think about the situation of Tony Pollard? Leave your opinion in the comments.